Hello and welcome to Film Companion South. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Vijay's Thalaivii starring Kangana Ranaut and Arvind Swami. This is a film that is out in theatres after a very long time, and I must say this film deserves it. One reason I say that is because it's got scale, it's got scope, it's got beautiful production design. I mean, it looks fantastic on screen. But another reason I say it is that it's got an epicness about it. Now, Jayalalitha was a larger-than-life woman, and this is a larger-than-life movie, a deliberately larger-than-lilife movie told in an almost mythical masala mode. The very first scene is a kind of Panjali Sabadam scene, the scene where Draupadi vows to avenge her humiliation at the Kaurava court after whatever happened, after the game of dice. But even beyond this, the story looks very mythical. The way they've constructed the story is so mythical. It's like there's this beloved king, a very beloved king. His courtiers are keeping close watch on him, and this beloved king, despite being married, falls in love with a very young and beautiful princess, and she falls for him too after initial resistance. But after the king dies, the courtiers, the evil courtiers, they decide to get rid of the princess, but she does not back down. She thwarts their plans and finally becomes queen. The beats, the emotional beats are so strong in the story, and it's not surprising to find that the writer is K.V. Vijayendra Prasad, because no one, and I mean no one in the Indian film industry knows as much about emotional beats, about masala beats especially, than people in the Telugu film industry. I'm just going to take a little pause to explain what I mean by masala, right? It means that larger than life storytelling that is the DNA of Indian movies. I'm not talking about mass films. I'm not talking about those movies where a hero comes and they deliberately construct 5 scenes so that the audience can whistle, so that his fans can whistle. This is not that. This is genuine masala storytelling. You see this masala-ness in the way a producer fires an actress from an underproduction film. You see this masala-ness in the way Thambi Ramaya, who is the trusted aide, he plays the trusted aide of the Jayalalitha character, by the way he tells through one long speech the troubles that her mother has undergone to get her to this stage, and that essentially changes Jayalalitha's feelings towards her mother. You see this masala-ness in the way a courtier, a crucial courtier, refers to himself as MGR Shield, and this very word shield, that is Kedayam, it comes back as an echo much later, and as we all know, echoes are a big part of masala filmmaking. And you see this masala-ness, the emotional masala-ness, in the way the MGR figure becomes essentially at first a mother figure, surprisingly, to Jayalalitha, in the way she embraces him during a song sequence and then subsequently takes over her life. Now, it's inevitable that we talk about Mani Ratnam's Iruvar, so let's just get done with that right away. Now, that was a fictional story in the sense that he took 2 very public characters, characters that we can recognize, and what he did was he constructed a series of events around them that could have been imagined. I mean, the events actually happened, but did the events actually happen that particular way, where they actually staged that particular way in real life as well? We will never know. So Mani Ratnam took a lot of creative liberty by changing the name of every single character in the movie, and even the Jayalalitha character is basically a bit of a person in the sidelines. Now, Thalaivii, there is an interesting mix of real and fiction happening. Now, for instance, MGR is called MJR. RM Veerappan is called RN Veerappan. The Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam is called Tamizhaga Makkal Kazhagam, which is Tamaka, not Dimuka. And yet Jayalalitha is called Jayalalitha. Karunanidhi is called Karunanidhi. He's played by Nasser. It's a bit of a caricaturish role, but he does it very well. So I guess this is some kind of legalese happening where some people allowed their names to be used, and or it was possible to use some names, and some names had to be changed. Now, the film's biggest surprise is how well Arvind Swami gets into the spirit of MGR. I mean, MGR, whatever. He even looks like the guy, and I swear, I have never ever seen Arvind Swami and imagine, oh my god, here's a guy who looks like MGR. That's never happened. The prosthetics plus the the way he gets into it, the way he embodies the spirit of the character is just amazing. It's one of the best things Arvind Swami's ever done. Another brilliant touch about the movie is how they show that Jayalalitha from the beginning had her shades of grey. She had a little bits of cunning. There is a scene where during a shoot there are 2 chairs, one for Jayalalitha and one for MGR. They're sitting side by side, and RM Veerappan is seeing from behind and he does not like it. He orders one of the chairs removed, but Jayalalitha slyly finds her way back to sit into that particular chair, leaving MGR standing. In another scene, after she's kind of expelled from MGR's camp, she immediately calls a press conference and starts singing Shivaji's praises because of 2 reasons. One is she generally wants to act with Shivaji, and 2 is she knows that will irritate the hell out of MGR. So you always get the sense that there was a small budding politician kind of person inside her, that if things didn't happen to her one way, she would find another way to kind of go around it. And yet she's always an outsider. Now take the scene where MGR is gunned down by MR Radha. MR Radha is played by Radha Ravi. Nice little touch. Now we cut to the hospital a little later, and MGR is on the bed, right? He's surrounded by his wife, and there's another little touch here that made me smile, which is seeing Madhu playing Arvind Swami's wife, which took me a little back to Roja. But the main thing is that Karunanidhi sees Jayalalitha standing there, and then he comes to her and says, well, she should not be here, she should be at the studio, that she does not belong there. And that is a sentiment that is shared by all the courtiers in MGR's party. So later, when Jayalalitha gets MGR's ear and wants to complain about Karunanidhi, even though she knows that MGR and Karunanidhi are very good friends, is she doing it out of revenge? Or is she doing it because she genuinely feels that this friendship is not going to help MGR? That's a doubt that's planted in our mind. And the way all of this is staged to dialogue is helped fantastically by Garki's lines. He has written the dialogue, and sometimes he plays with movies. For example, when somebody calls Jayalalitha Adime Pen, she replies with, the fact that she has an Arasa Kattalai. But the dialogues themselves seem to belong to that era. They don't feel fake. That's also because of the masala flavor, because that is a kind of an old-fashioned flavor today, right? Because today everybody wants cool, hip-looking dialogue. But that apart, the dialogue themselves seem to kind of come from that era. But scene after scene after scene, I think the achievement of the film is the fact that you know the story by heart, and yet there's always something that keeps your eye riveted. At least I was riveted by the fact that MGR and Jayalalitha scenes are often staged in front of mirrors, so there's always an element of artifice between the real and the reflection between these two. And every scene has a bit of drama, that's the core of masala, right? Now, after MGR has introduced the Sathuna Vittam, which is the healthy food for school-going kids, Jayalalitha discovers that spoiled food is being served to the children. Now look at the drama, look at the dramatic way in which she wants to prove to MGR that this is the kind of food being served. She packs a lunchbox full of that food and she takes to him, and he's eagerly waiting to see what she has for her. And she has this for him. I don't know again if this really happened in real life, but it's one hell of a dramatic way to kind of establish what really happened, what the crux of Jayalalitha's problem is. The food is spoiled, and I swear this is only possible with Telugu writers. They are geniuses at this kind of stuff. As for flaws, I think I like the first half more than the second half, which is a little too packed with incident. I would have liked the scenes to breathe a little more. Also, some of the lines, they're inevitable, but they seem corny. For example, a little girl calls Jayalalitha Akka, and then she's told that this is not Akka but Amma, as in Jayalalitha Amma. That right. So that's going. That line is going to come, but the way it comes is not like the best way possible. So there are small complaints like that. But I think the real problem that many people are going to have with Thalaivii is that it does not address the latter day Jayalalitha at all. It is about Jayalalitha till she kind of fulfills a Panjali Sabadam and sits on the throne of CM again. That is pretty much where the film stops. So if you're looking for scenes about Sudhakaran's wedding, or if you're looking for scenes about Sasikala, who plays a very, very minor part here, and she comes across like the most loving, most loyal servant, they are not going to be here. But there's one line that the Sasikala character gives that made me smile. She says, "Inime ellathiyo na paathukuren," which when you look back from hindsight is like, wow, is that a promise or a threat? But yeah, there's very little about the allegations of corruption against her, though I have to give the writer and the director points for the very last scene, which kind of shows in a wonderfully dramatic way how she made slaves of the courtiers who formerly wanted her out, and how she encouraged this sycophantic culture throughout her kind of reign. This scene is just the beginning. We kind of get the sense of the latter day Jayalalitha. So you could probably think of this as the part one of Jayalalitha's life, where she had to claw her way up through like patriarchy like never been seen. Maybe she was like so damaged by this that she became what she became. I don't know, because all of that remains a big mystery and it's never going to be solved. But again, these flaws kind of pale in comparison to how much the movie gives us. For example, I have never seen in another movie how deep the MGR Jayalalitha love was. His brain as a politician kept telling him that the wise thing was to stay away from her, but his heart kept coming back to her. You see how complex and complicated this relationship was from both sides. I've never seen this aspect in any other movie. The film is filled with very, very good performances. Nasser, like I said, it's a bit of a caricature, but he embodies embodies that Karunanidhi feel perfectly. Thambi Ramaya has a small role, he does it beautifully. But this is more the MJR Jayalalitha story with RNV as the kind of at the other end of the triangle, because he was fighting for MJR as well in a way. And this role is played beautifully by Samudrakani, though I wish it was very strong in the beginning and it's very strong at the end. I wish the middle portion had been stronger as well about the way this particular role had been shaped. As I said, Arvind Swami is great as MGR, but Kangana is also terrific because she does not try to channel Jayalalitha. She does not try to mimic Jayalalitha. Instead, she channels and mimics the lack of power, the frustrations, the disappointments, the fact of what it must have meant to be a woman at that time in politics. She is someone who could not get her man, and she is also someone who was not tolerated by the other men of the party, and Kangana puts all of this across beautifully. Now, how much of all this is true, right? You see the word biopic in a movie and you think everything should be true, but I don't believe in that philosophy at all, because I don't think you can really know anybody, and what we get as biopics are essentially kind of the public events are kind of presented, but when you get into the psychology of the people, only they know what really happened, as in only the people who experience them know really what happened. So yes, I don't expect the truth in a biopic. All I want is a semblance of this is how it all happened, and that I got, so I was kind of reasonably happy. In fact, in a sense, you don't even have to see it as a Jayalalitha story. You can just see it as the story of any woman who had to struggle her way through patriarchy, because there's a line here that says பெண்களுக்கு இன்னும் எவ்வளவு நாள் தான் அக்னி பரீட்சை கொடுக்க போறீங்க, and you kind of feel that that's true even today. So that's it about Thalaivii. If you like this review, do subscribe to Film Companion South, and see you soon at the movies.